let's talk about the struggle with being yourself as a small YouTuber. I know if any of y'all ever tried to, shoot a YouTube video or do any type of content, you probably have figured out that sometimes you find yourself being different on camera than what you are in your personal life. And that's something that I've struggled with over the years. I've shot, well over 3,000 videos, most of them on Instagram. But I've always seen as I progress this disconnect between the way I am off camera and the way I am on camera. And I've become better at it over time. And I've noticed that as a YouTuber now that this has been a constant struggle, but it's something that I've been working towards because I find it very hard to try to perform as a YouTuber instead of just relaxing, just be myself. And I'm sure there's a lot of you guys out there, you find yourself trying to do something in life, whatever it is, and you may find yourself, trying to be something that you're not, trying to be, like you're performing instead of just relaxing, be yourself. And I want to talk to those guys out there that's trying to be YouTubers, that's making video, that's shooting content, because I know I'm not the only one that has gone through this process of hitting that record button, turning on that camera, and find yourself speaking a certain way or acting a certain way that is not congruent with who you are. And I want to talk about 3 things I've noticed that leads to this as I'm steady in the process myself of becoming more my authentic self on camera. The first thing that I noticed is that, over the years, I've tried to hide my true personality. Now, I'm more of a raw person. I'm more of a laid back person. I'm an urban guy, and sometimes I can be more in your face when I'm having conversations with people. But that's what my friends love about me is the fact that I'm very upfront. I tell you how I feel. If they ask me a question, I give them a straight up answer. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. And, I find that some of that has left as I get online. I'm not as, let's say as passionate as I am as I'm having a regular conversation with my friends. And I can feel it because sometimes when I shoot video, I don't feel that emotional connection. I think that is because there's nobody in here with me. I'm talking to a camera. But the reality is, yes, I may be talking to a camera, but I'm actually talking to you, even though you're not here. You're somebody I want to connect with. I want to help. I believe that we're all born with a great vision inside of us. I believe that we're all worthy to be great. That is something I believe with all my soul. And I hope that you're patient with me as I'm learning how to be more authentic, to be more of my true self on camera. And I think the biggest issue that I've had with wanting to hide my true personality is that fear of rejection. And I think that we don't want to admit this, especially as guys, that we fear rejection. But all of us, in some part of us, we fear not being accepted, being rejected. Maybe it's something that came from your childhood, like myself. My dad left 2 weeks after he told us we were going to leave the family. He wasn't going to leave the family. And that fear of rejection has something that's always been inside of me. And I feel that is something that I've brought on camera with me. But I'm learning to overcome that. And that's why I'm talking about it now. So I would say the first thing is that, that fear of hiding our true personality is something that has held me back. And if you're trying to make video or whatever it is you're trying to do in life, if you're allowing that fear of rejection to keep you from showing your true personality, who you are, you're going to have that disconnect inside of you that something's not right. You're going to feel like you're not as passionate or connected with people as much as you could. So I just want to put that out there that, just like I'm going through this process, I want to encourage you to go through that process of not being afraid to show your true personality. The second thing I will say, especially when it comes to shooting video, is, I find myself shooting video in a way that I feel that people want me to shoot it, meaning that I am trying to be more polished. You know what I'm saying? Like say words a certain way or have a certain personality. I guess be a YouTuber, what that's in my mind, maybe energetic or over out of control, whatever. And honest truth is, if I was sitting down talking to one of my friends, like outside or in a coffee shop, yeah, sometimes I am very energetic and yelling and stuff like that. But that's what I'm talking about, something with passion. But not just having an everyday conversation. Like the way I'm talking now is how I normally will talk. Like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? How things are going. And that's what I want to be more of. And that's what I will be more of. I have to work towards it, of course, getting used to, speaking on camera this way. I'm not a guy that's ever scripted any of my videos. I've always been a guy that I turn the camera on, I speak, and I just say what I feel. But it's the delivery I feel has not been as authentic. Like right now, you can tell I'm not saying words perfect. I'm not hitting the stop button and say the word over. I'm just talking like I normally talk. I'll be real with you. I'm not the most, I'm not the best with words at times, but I do the best that I can to communicate as best as I can. And, it's just something I'm going to just keep working towards. And whatever it is you're doing, no matter what it is, I want to encourage you to do the same. If you feel that you've been doing something a certain way because you feel other people expect you to do it that way, I want you to sit back and ask yourself, like I've been asking myself, how should I do this? And I feel like I need to be doing things with more authenticity, especially on camera. And that's what I'm going to be striving on from this day forward. And the last thing I will say is, I'm a small YouTuber. I only got like 600 subscribers, you know what I'm saying? And I'm proud of that. I worked hard for those 600s. But I also feel that from this day forward, I got some other videos coming out, but I want to ask you to help to encourage me to just relax and be myself on camera. Let me know if you feel like maybe I'm not being you felt like you wasn't feeling me more. I wasn't feel like I'm being as authentic. Let me say that again. I wasn't being as authentic. Yeah, I'm tripping. My authenticity was not, showing through the camera. I'm not going to edit any of this out. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I want you to encourage me with that because this is something I'm working towards. I want to be, more of myself on camera. Now, I'm not going to put all my business out there in the world. Of course, I am talking about, when it pertains to conversation with you, sharing the things that I love. I'm a certified behavior change specialist. I love talking about habits. I love talking about personal development. I love talking about communication and all these things that can help us become a better person and also help us to be able to serve others as much as we can. And I just wanted to shoot this video just to talk about the challenges of being your authentic self as a small YouTuber. And if you're a YouTuber or you doing any type of social media or whatever it is, and you struggling with being your authentic self, I want to let you know you're not by yourself. There are others of us out there who have put ourselves out here into the world. We're struggling being our true self every day. And that's my confession with that. That's something I'm working on. I want your encouragement. And I want to encourage you to do the same thing because you are worthy to be great.